तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्योर्मा अमृतं गमय। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। May the divine lead us from the unreal to the real, from darkness to light, from death to immortality. Om, peace, peace, peace.
O devotee, welcome Hari to the core of your mind. Make him reside in the temple of mind. Offer flowers and worship. Make your heart the lotus seed for Hari. Be the anklet to kiss Hari's feet. Offer, O mind, the tears of love to his lotus feet. Fill your life with divine love. Offer tears of love, O mind. Welcome Hari to the core of your heart. स्वागत कर ले पुजारी मन में, स्वागत कर ले पुजारी, स्वागत कर ले पुजारी मन में, स्वागत कर ले पुजारी मन में, स्वागत कर ले पुजारी। हरि आए तेरे मन मंदिर में, हरि आए तेरे मन मंदिर में, पूजन कर गिरधारी मन में, पूजन कर गिरधारी मन में, पूजन कर गिरधारी। फूल बना ले मन को तेरा, फूल बना ले मन को तेरा, पूजन कर गिरधारी मन में, पूजन कर गिरधारी मन में, पूजन कर गिरधारी। हृदय कमल से पूजन कर ले, हृदय कमल से पूजन कर ले। देख मूर्ति जी को भर ले, देख मूर्ति जी को भर ले, चरण चूम ले नूपुर होकर, चरण चूम ले नूपुर होकर, पूजन कर गिरधारी मन में, पूजन कर गिरधारी। स्वागत कर ले पुजारी मन में, स्वागत कर ले पुजारी। प्रेम के आंसू भेंट चढ़ा ले, प्रेम की आंसू भेंट चढ़ा ले। भक्ति प्रेम राग बढ़ा ले, भक्ति प्रेम आग बढ़ा ले, तन मन दे दे उन चरणों पर, तन मन दे दे उन चरणों पर, पूजन कर गिरधारी मन में, पूजन कर गिरधारी मन में, पूजन कर गिरधारी।
I'm reading from the book Spiritual Life for Modern Times by Swami Kripamayananda. We must understand that the aim of coming to this world is to realize God. There are three things which are difficult to attain: birth in the human world, the desire for realization, and the company of great souls. The main object of human life is to realize God, but invariably we forget this and waste our lives. There is a beautiful story about a Japanese boy. There was a boy, a servant, in a Japanese family in a remote village. One morning, he was asked to go to the town and purchase certain things. His master gave him the money needed. The boy went to the town, but he was a boy from the remote village, countryside. And so, when he went to the town, he was taken in by the glamour of the town, of the various shops and other attractions in the town. He went after all these things, moving from shop to shop and from one place to another, stopping to see the new sights and enjoy the thrills from such experiences. In the midst of these diversions, he totally forgot all about the purpose of his coming to the town and returned in the evening without purchasing anything for his master. The master asked him, "Where are the things I wanted?" The boy said, "I forgot to purchase them, sir." Our condition is more or less like that. We have come to this world and, having attained a human life, instead of trying to realize God, we are going after sense enjoyments, forgetting the main purpose of our lives. We do not seek the company of holy persons, which is quite necessary for spiritual development. If we keep company with holy men, by watching them and by hearing them, and by seeing their conduct and their attitude towards life, we shall be influenced by them and thus be led to follow their way of life. Whenever we go to a religious person, our minds are raised to a higher level, and for the time being at least, we forget the world and its concerns. If we keep constant company with holy men, our attachment to the world will become less and less. But it is very hard to get the company of holy men, and more so to get it for a long time. So, we can, however, read sacred literature. It is good to go through the biography of Sri Ramakrishna or the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, Bhagavata and Gita, or the lives of great saints. When we read such books, we feel that we are in the company of holy souls. In this way, we can keep good company and struggle on for God realization. Yes.
Now a short period of meditation. Welcome to the Sunday service of the Vedanta Society of Toronto. Today's topic is the mind and its play. The mind plays a most important role in our lives. In fact, our identity is our mind. In what we think we are, not that what we eat or how we look or where we live, that doesn't matter, but what we think, and in our thoughts depends our actions. What we think becomes our action, and behavior and habit and character. And that makes a person. Character is the person that depends on our thoughts, which is the play, which is the work of our mind. Real strength of a person lies not in the muscles, but in the tranquility of his or her mind. It is the source of his power, creativity, and self-confidence. It is important for a saint or a mystic, as it is for a scientist, an artist, an engineer, or a workman. This wrote our Swami Adishwarananda. The Bhagavad Gita says, Bandhura atmat manastasya enat maivat manajitaha. The mind is our best friend when kept under control, and our worst enemy when we lose our control over it. We lose control over it. So the mind is so important, and how we deal with the mind depends our life totally. So we become worldly, we become selfish, we may become very unuseful, antisocial, only because of our mind. Or we may become very helpful, saintly, patriotic, lover of mankind, only because of our mind. So mind, which way the mind takes, that we become. So mind is so important for human life. And when mind is not under our control, it becomes enemy and throws it in the gutter. And when it is our friend, it just elevates us to God. It is mind which will elevate us to the level of divine. It is mind which will put us down to the level of brute. So we have to take care of the mind. And the Gita very nicely said, when mind is under control, it is our wonderful friend, it is our great friend, the best friend. So how to make mind under control? Mind plays a different play. It sometimes deceives, it sometimes helps, it sometimes gives us wrong suggestion, it sometimes suggests us very wonderful suggestion. So the mind's suggestions are often carried on by the intellect, the decisive faculty of the mind. And intellect's purity depends on how it will take the decision. It understands what will be good and what will be bad. If mind is not under control, then the intellect will go on with whatever mind suggests. But when intellect is under control, mind is under control, then intellect will be in a position to take the right decisions. Sometimes mind may suggest something which is not right, but intellect is there to control. In Kathopanishad, that beautiful story of a chariot is said, where mind is compared to the reins and intellect to the charioteer. And the horses are the senses. Senses run on the road, which is the sense objects. They move on the sense objects. And which sense object to take and how much to take, how much to make it run. The horses try to run like that. They have no guidance. But the rein keeps them under control. But reins themselves don't keep under control. Reins have to be controlled by the charioteer who runs the chariot. So buddhi, which is a part of the mind, has to be strong, decisive, taking right decision, and then only it can control the horses, how much to control, which side to put. Through the mind it will do that. That's why intellect, which is a part of the mind, that has to be strong, wise, and it is able to take the right decisions. What is actually mind? It is a positive entity between the body and the senses on one side. and knowing self on another. So our self or jivatma or our ego that works through mind, it works through body and the senses. So our control over body and mind, body and the senses is through the mind. Who is that we controlling? Or ego. Ego is also a part of the mind. What we think I, that is actually in reality it is the soul. But soul fully under the control of the mind. Mind and soul as if were become one. And when this mind and the soul becomes like the soul is controlled by the mind or shown by the mind, it is called jivatma. There is the consciousness, but consciousness not able to find the real reality, but still under the control of the mind. So mind plus the consciousness, it becomes jivatma. So jivatma makes our ego, and ego is the I sense. That's I do, I see, I earn. Who sees? It is ego, jivatma that sees. And through what it sees? Through the mind and the senses. The impulses from the information from the world, from the objects are brought through the senses to the mind, and mind sends it to the intellect, and intellect sends it to the ego. Ego or the jivatma, then it says, oh, I see. Then it says, then that all that impulses, information comes, and then the reaction of our intellect, whether we should accept, avoid, reject, all that will be done, that discernment is done by the intellect, which is part of the mind. Everything that we do is through mind alone. In different functions of the mind are called different things. Ego is the mind, part of the mind which really has the I sense. I do, I work, I see. And mind is as such bringing the information and wavering whether I should do it or not, I should avoid it or I should accept it. When decisions are taken, it is the pure mind. And when decision-taking faculty, it's called intellect. So, and there is another part of the mind which is called memory, where the memory is kept, it's called chitta. So, manas, buddhi, chitta and ahankara. These four are the faculties of the mind. According to that, and where is mind? One question comes, where is mind? Mind pervades entire body. It's not only in the brain. Wherever we get conscious, we get awareness, when somebody, we have the touch, feeling of touch, we can feel. So how do we feel? Because there is mind. And without the mind being there, we will not be able to feel. So mind pervades all over body. But the mind is spread all over the body through and it brings information through the network of nerves that is there. And but the mind has the power. Mind is not the network of nerves. Mind has the person, the intellect has the power, the person has the power to withdraw the mind from all the networks of the nerves. And we have seen in the stories of great saints, they say, no, I will not feel the body. So they are not able to feel the body. They withdraw the mind from other parts of the body and put in their atma. They just are able to keep. So mind in general cases is spread all over the body. Yogis have the power to control and withdraw the mind from different parts of the body. So mind is not the network of the senses, but it is an entity, it is a positive thing that pervades throughout our body. Mind has four main functions, as I was saying. One is deliberation. So deliberation is the mind goes on seeking the thing, whether this is good or that is good. It just observes and accepts the things. Observer, this is things looks like this, or it may be that. All it deliberates the thing. So that is called manas. The pure mind, from which the whole mind is called mind. In fact, in Sanskrit, the mind is called antakarana, inner instrument consisting of four things. So mind is that which fluctuates, which deliberates, which just goes and tries to bring the information, which cannot decide. The the mind just sees, oh, it may be this, it may be that. I should eat, I should not eat, not deciding. So there is another part of the same mind or antakarana that is called determination. That is another function of the mind. It decides a faculty. No, I should not eat this. It is good, bad for me. I should do this. This is good for me. I should wake up in the morning or not. It is alarm. So my teacher said, do prayer in the morning. But it's a Saturday, and I'd like to sit. The mind will say like that. Mind plays with us. Then the Buddhi says, no, but the teacher also said, do every day, no Saturday or Sunday for spiritual practice. Then if you give up to your determinative faculty or your mental that volition, so saying that don't get too lethargic, I'll do later on after 1 hour, let me have 1 hour more sleep today, Saturday. So if you give to that, intellect is weak. Intellect is not exerting its action on the mind. So mind becomes powerful. This powerful mind without the action of decisive faculty becomes very dangerous. And it doesn't let you do the thing that is right. It forgets what is right and wrong. It is the decisive faculty or determinative faculty's role to give the mind the knowledge that this is right or this is wrong. Mind just sits. Mind just wants the thing. I want to sleep, I want to eat, I want to listen, I want to see, what to listen, what should be eaten. All this determinative faculty will say. Determinative faculty is called buddhi. That buddhi has to be powerful to control the mind. If buddhi is weak and mind becomes strong, manas becomes strong, then it can lead us to bad things. So buddhi's control is needed. Now what is that strong buddhi will come later on. Another function of the mind is memory. We do something, whatever we have thought or acted, whatever has come to our mind remains in the memory. That portion of the antakarana is called chitta. Chitta is the record room. It is like the hardware of the computer. Everything remains there. And it can come up anytime. From chitta to mind, it can come. They are both way action. From mind, whatever is there, it goes back to the chitta and is stored there in a subtle form. And this from chitta, it can come back to the mind and it can ask the thing to do. Suddenly it happens. We have not... sometimes when the senses go to the mind and they stimulate our desire from the chitta. Oh, I wanted to eat this thing, but I didn't have. Now I think I can have that. Nobody is seeing, so there's nobody, though I have little diabetes, but I will walk more, so I will have 2 nice sweets. Mind says that. How did it come? He somehow saw those sweets. Or somehow from memory came, yes, I went there, I saw that person. Then I went to that shop, that there were so nice chocolates were there. And my wife said, don't eat, it's not good for you. And but what is there? Now wife is resting, she's busy on watching television or doing japam. Now I can have quickly, this you will not know. And as far as this diabetes is concerned, it is only for one day. I am not eating daily, but I am eating today, let me have that. But that is the weak mind. How this memory affects the mind, and mind makes us work. Buddhi is set aside that time. The buddhi that would say, no, it's not good. Wife is saying not for herself, but for you to be well. She is not saying for you to not to eat, because that restraint or control over your desires will help you to be healthy and happy. Uncontrolled lifestyle will make you sad and suffer. Controlled lifestyle will make you healthy and happy. So this is what the memory or chitta's work. Whatever we think, that goes to chitta, whether we do or not. Something of it will remain. And only this chitta, when the intellect is totally purified, then chitta is all, whatever is there, they cannot come up. Otherwise, there is chance they can come up. Anytime the stimulus can be there. External stimulus through the senses, internal stimulus through the memory or chitta. Another, the word function of the mind is I consciousness. That I see, I observe. That is called ahankara. I sense, in English the ahamkara means where the I comes, that I can do it, I can do it. All those things come through the I sense. And that is also nothing but antakarana, part of the mind. In the broader sense, mind includes all these things, four things together. Manas, or the mind as such, chitta, or the mind stuff, buddhi, or the intellect, and I sense or ahankara. These four things make the antakarana, inner instrument of the human being. On these four, antakarana depends our body. Whole our body is made. Body is just the extension of this antakarana or the mind. Body nothing. Body is just the extension. I want to eat something, then the hand will go and it will put in the mouth. Body, the hand and mouth, is that much function is there. The real enjoyer of the thing is the mind. When we eat something sweet or something bitter, who knows? It is the mind which understands. For the tongue, it's nothing there. Body, nothing there. And the senses also, just see and the taste. And that is nothing. The enjoyment comes to the mind and finally to the I sense, or the ego is the final lord of the body. So ego says, oh, it's so tasty, so nice. So everything goes to ego, and the whole body and senses are the extension of the antakarana, extension of the ego, to help you in being in the world, enjoying the world, exercising in the world, making yourself more spiritual, making yourself more worldly minded. All this is the I sense that make. So we have to take care of the mind, which is the beginning of all those things. Otherwise mind will just play, and it will play itself and make us dance to its tunes. So mind is very good friend if we have control over it. If it is not controlled, if mind controls over us, over the ego, over the intellect, then there is danger. Danger why? Because mind takes both. It is not decision making, it just gives. And when the mind is purified, then this whole mind is purified, then the intellect and pure intellect becomes real ruler of the mind. Then ego also depends on intellect, and intellect is already taking right decisions, so we are safe. When intellect is purified, that in the common language we say, mind purified, then it is said that purified mind is our real friend. The mind itself, little desire become, should I eat or should I not eat? Immediately the mind, that purified mind, which is our friend, will say, no, you should not eat it. That's the buddhi comes. Mind couldn't work longer, so that whether should I or should I not? Not longer. Buddhi said, no, you should not. And it's that very reactive thing that, oh, why Buddhi is saying I should not eat? I want to, it doesn't happen. You become more friendly to the Buddhi. Buddhi says you should not eat. I do not react to that. There is no contradiction with the Buddhi. Then I sense or ego accepts the good decisions of the Buddhi. Each person perceives the world through the prism of his or her mind. The mind is the person's interpreter, guide, and constant companion. These three words from Adiswaran, the beautiful word, what mind is. Mind is the person's interpreter. He tries to explain the things. Guide, it will guide. What should we do? And constant companion. Now guidance depends on, if the mind is well controlled, guidance will be good. Mind is uncontrolled, guidance will be bad. So guidance is there, but it is through the mind we interpret the whole world, our all vision, our all perception. And mind is always there with us, constant companion, while we are awake, while we are dreaming. Only in the deep sleep state, mind is suspended. It is not working. But this is subtle form of mind is working. That's why in the deep sleep also, when someone calls us with our name, we suddenly wake up. They call other name, we may not wake up. But with our name they call, we wake up. Why do we do? Mind was not working. There is mind working at a very subtle, suspended level, as if it was not working. It was inactive. Active, very subtly it is active. That's why when name is associated with our mind, and when someone calls our name, we immediately wake up. So, if you said that that's why mind is constant companion in our life. Not only life, they say mind is even goes after we die, it goes with our subtle body, it transmigrates to hell or heaven or another life, whatever you say, that mind transmigrates. The whole of mind doesn't go. Subtle thoughts of the mind that are encrypted in it, it's also encryption. Subtle way they are put in the mind, our thoughts, the reactions that we had, the actions that we did, all our thoughts and whatever we had, all that is in the subtle form, it is in the mind, and that subtle mind also lives with the subtle body or jivatma. Mind is said to be having three levels. One is conscious level. Conscious level when the mind makes decision, we are awake, and it has its choices, what should we do and what we should not do, and there is value judgment. All this mind in the sense here is the intellect. So it does the judgment, yeah, this is right to do, that is not right to do. And you have choices, you want this. So many things are given you, choose this. When you go to the superstore, which one should you buy? Which bread should you buy? Who says that? Not the person's cashier comes to say to you. It is your mind which says, oh, this is multigrain, it is good. This is white bread, it is tasty. Now you choose among them. This all mind says that. What should I choose? So this choice is done by the mind. And when it is conscious, we are awake. And there is one mind, another level of mind called subconscious. That is in the chitta level it goes. It is subconscious, it is hidden, but it exerts its effect to the conscious mind. What is in unconscious is totally hidden. It is not always coming, but sometimes it comes. As I was talking, that sometimes the desire comes from where we do not know. It was already there in subconscious, but we are not aware of that, and it came. So subconscious level, when the mind works, it exhibits its influence on conscious level. There is another level called superconscious level, where individual consciousness comes in contact with universal consciousness. In subconscious level, it is like intuition, and in conscious level, it is a deliberation, and superconscious level, in subconscious level, it is instinct, in conscious level, it is deliberation, and in superconscious level, it is intuition. So where our consciousness, our mind meets with the universal consciousness, we become universal in our thought. Our vision changes, our thoughts changes. We don't remain just this body. We don't think only for this body. Till we are thinking only for this body, mind, and this thing I sense with the ego, till that it is conscious level. When we start, our mind merges into super mind, or consciousness connects with the super consciousness, then our thought changes. Then we become all thought for the universal thought. We are not no more individual. Then we become universal, and that is what is going close to God. Mind works with three gunas. There are three gunas that the mind makes. Everything that is material is made of three gunas. Right from the things, the universe that we see, even the thoughts, even the mind has three gunas. The world is made up of gross three gunas, the mind is made up of subtle three gunas. What are the three gunas? One is tamas. When the mind has the preponderance of tamas, it is dull, cannot think, lazy. You cannot think. These are all three gunas we pass through every day. It is not that we have only one guna. All of us, even the very Sattva-guni also will have a little of tamas. Tamas makes you sleep, forget what to think, incapable of to take decision. You become, it is dark, that is called tamas. That is one quality. Rajas is passion, work, activity, agitation. The mind with Rajoguna, preponderance with Rajoguna, full of Rajas, is very agitated and restless. That is the quality of Rajasic mind. And there is a Sattvic guna. When that has the preponderance, that is overpowering, then there is stability and clarity of perception. So sattva, rajas and tamas. Sattva makes us active and work, but it brings the bondage through the work, and we get attachment. Rajas also brings attachment. Tamas is totally inactive, inertia, dullness, laziness, sleepiness. That all is tamas. And sattva is serenity, stability, clarity of thought. Those are all of the sattva. We all have these three gunas. So the more of sattva, if our mind is there, when we wake up, it is all sattva. Then sattva guna also lets you work. It's not that when sattva guna is there, you won't work at all. But the work, thought of the work will be without attachment, for the good of all. Rajaguna will work for your own aggrandizement, for own name and fame, to become rich and powerful yourself. It's very self-limited. And the Sattva Guna is more broader. It will more think of the community, for the country, for the world. And in that type of work, there is no attachment or bondage or suffering. Rather, goodness it brings. So stability and clarity of thought comes through the preponderance of Sattva Guna in our mind. And Tamo Guna, of course, is there. When we need the rest, mind needs rest, and Tamoguna is also very important to have. All the three gunas are important, but if there is preponderance of sattva, your mind is under control, mind cannot have its own play. Natural flow of the mind, if you let the mind, what is it meant? Because my mind is cosmocentric. It will all try to think of the world, about others. That's why each person is divine. The divinity is our very nature. And how that divinity is expressed? It is expressed through our love for all beings, through our cosmocentricness. But that is hidden by the ego, which is impure. And that makes us selfish, self-centered. And all those vices come with those blockages of impure ego, impure mind, and that blocks our cosmocentric flow of the mind to self-centric flow it tries to lead. Why you think of that? Like in Kaikeyi's life, she was all family-oriented. She loved Rama not less than Bharata, for her own son. Her stepson Rama, she loved that. But suddenly someone suggested, ask for your sons become king and send Rama to forest, because Rama is too powerful and loved by all. Suddenly this cosmocentricness is converted into self-centeredness. The flow of mind is changed by ego that made her little, puny, small, that type of thing it may become. So when we are like that, we forget the thing. So natural flow is blocked by the ego of Kaikeyi. There is a story somewhere I read that when Rama says, when Krishna said to Devaki, Mother, you were Yashoda, you were Kaikeyi in my past birth, so I have come as your son. So because Kaikeyi loved Rama so much, so Krishna comes as the Kaikeyi son in the form of Devaki. Then Devaki asked, then what about Kausalya, your own mother? Oh, Kausalya is born as Yashoda. Because I was deprived of her love for 14 years, I was sent back to forest, so she got me for 14 years to take care. So it's Vrindavan Lila for 14 years as Krishna to make that. I think this is the main story. I don't know, I have not read in the scriptures, but somewhere I read it. So, like that thing may happen when mind suddenly becomes egocentric from cosmocentric. But because of the blockage of ego, it falls back to negative urges. This cosmocentric flow of mind becomes negative urges like lust, anger, jealousy, possessions, all this come when mind falls back upon itself instead of flowing to the cosmic level. Mind is known for its proverbial restlessness. That is what the mind is. That's why we have to work so much on the mind. As our mind is, so we are. So different kinds of personalities we meet. Some are very, unfriendly. Some are very cruel type. Some are very kind, compassionate. All how these are different humanities because of the difference in mind. But the mind by its very nature is restless. Some people may have that, then how you say, those people are friendly, they think for others, they can sacrifice their things for others. They find joy in sacrificing their selfishness for the sake of others. So all this came, their mind, they were born with that sattvika type of mind. Mind by nature restless, but somehow they did some good work in past life and they were born with that good mind in this life, that's why they are good. But those who are born with the restless mind, they have also opportunity to work on it in this life. This life is so great, human life, that we can make work on this life, on the mind in this life. Even the agitative mind, even the Rajoguni mind can be made into Sattva-guni mind. That is the beauty of human life. That is the beauty of sadhana. This practice of transforming our mind is called sadhana, spiritual practice. Gita says, Arjuna said to Krishna said, control your mind. Why are you so that? Arjuna said, you asked me to control mind, but controlling mind is like controlling wind that flows. How can you control the wind? So, and Arjuna says, quality of the mind. How wise was Arjuna? He says, 4 qualities he gives to the mind. Arjuna, great warriors, concentration. You remember how Arjuna said to Drona, I can see only the eye of the bird, I don't see anyone. Such was his focus and concentration. Great person, wonderful, strong mind, perfect intellect. Then when he said, control your mind and do the right thing, he says, you are saying so easily. It's not easy to control mind. I might be a good warrior and best warrior, but I find mind to be very restless. He studied the mind. We have to study our own mind. Then it comes under control. When we are able to understand what type of mind we have, that is the first step to control the mind. So Arjuna says, mind is restless. It is turbulent. It's not only restless but turbulent. There is like a whirlpool in it. And it is very powerful. Even the intellect cannot control. And it's obstinate. It doesn't go. The word, Sanskrit word is Chanchalam hi mana Krishna pramati balavad dridham. It is very powerful and obstinate. It doesn't listen at all. So difficult to... Arjuna saying to his mind, that his mind is also like that, but still his mind is under control. And Sri Krishna says, there is hope, Arjuna. What you are saying is right. Asamsayam mahabhavo mano durnigraham chalam. Mana is very chanchala. It's very difficult to control it. But there is the way to control mind. There is a way to transform the mind. There is a way to remove the blockage of the mind and let it flow to its natural course of flow to cosmocentricness. And how is that? Abhyasena tu kaunteya vairagena chakriyate. Practice, try to practice the controlling of the mind. Gradually it will come under control. It is like catching the big fish with the hook. When you catch the big fish, you don't pull at once. You just let the hook fix on the mouth of the fish, and then you lose the string, and then it moves there, and slowly it moves and gets tired, then you pull. So you gradually control the mind, and finally it will be under your control. At once you cannot control. You are doing the work, lot of work in the office, and suddenly you come to your house and say, now I have to meditate. It won't be still exactly that way. Slowly in meditation you want, and you sit for 5 minutes and want to remove everything, all other thought, only the thought of your Ishta to be there. It won't happen that way. You see, Ishta's thought will not come. Go on sitting, trying to think, Ishta's thought not coming. Slowly and gradually thought of the Ishta will come. So we have to prolong the meditation. When we sit for half an hour or 1 hour, it is not 1 hour of meditation. 45 minutes goes in the preparation for meditation. If we have last 15 minutes good concentration and focus on the object of a meditation, that is great success for even a practicing person. Shankara also says mind is like a tiger that is prowling in the forest of sense objects. Manu nama mahavyagra vishayaranya bhumishu. So the people who are trying to spiritually evolve, sadhavo mumukshuva. They should not go there in that forest where there is mind is in its original form, like a tiger, it will devour you. So tiger has to be tamed. So try to tame the tiger. So don't go in the forest of pleasurable things. That's what he says, Shankara says. Swami Vivekananda also said about the mind, and he compared mind to a restless monkey. If you see, search the restless mind, you will find everywhere in all traditions, in Buddhist tradition also, mind is compared with the restless monkey. So Swamiji says the mind is definitely a restless monkey, but he added not only monkey by its nature is restless, mind is restless. Mind is not just monkey, but the monkey which is drunk with wine, then stung with scorpion, then caught with a demon. So all that makes mind extremely restless. So that is the nature of our mind. We who are trying to control it. And what are the wine? That wine is desire. So many desires we have. So one desire, it finishes, it is fulfilled or not, we'll have another desire. If fulfilled, another desire. Even if it is not fulfilled, it is kept into the cart, kept in the cart, buying cart, and for future to buy. And it is kept aside and not forgotten. And then you have another desire. So you fulfill, then it is, oh, I had wanted that. So there is desire. Those are making restless mind more restless by having so many desires. So mostly unfulfilled. Fulfilled desires don't create that much problem, but it may come again. Once you eat chocolate and your desire gone, that doesn't happen. Desire goes for the moment, maybe half an hour, 1 hour, 1 day. Again the next day, again the desire will come. That is how the desire wants to repeat itself. The habit will meet and it forms a habit. So that is the desire. And what is the scorpion that bites and adds to restlessness in the mind? Is Swami Vivekananda says jealousy. Trying to, being very uncomfortable at the success of others, at the good of others. Those who are spiritually evolved, they rejoice in the success of others, achievement of others. Oh, this person has become that, wonderful that he played. And sometimes it happens that way, you see, when we watch matches. Suppose we watch hockey, ice hockey. So we have two teams. So our team playing good, we rejoice. Other team playing good, we don't rejoice. We are not happy. So that is a sign of you make yourself smaller. You are confined only to your team, and you can't see the goodness in other teams. So already you are missing half joy. And then that's why in such cases when other does better, so you are not happy at all why that person played so well. You said, oh, he played well and my team is losing. But if your mind, you are not scorpion by jealousy, then appreciate every stroke, every goal, every hit. That person, this person, that team doesn't matter. You go to watch the match, you have certain liking for certain team. You live in Toronto, you like your own team here. But if a team loses and you find other team wonderful, then you praise. What a wonderful match I saw. Your team won? No, it lost, but the match was great. We become like Vasishtha. When his son were killed by Vishwamitra, who was a king at the time, and he was reading Vishwamitra's writing and praising, what a wonderful writing he has done. And Vasishtha's wife said, but he killed your wife and you are praising. He might have killed my wife, he might be jealous, but his writing is so wonderful. He is praising, all happy to read the writings of his own enemy. That time anyway. Later on they became all friends, and Vishwamitra accepted the greatness of Vasishtha. So like this our mind, which is restless, can become restless. So with all these things, a person with restless mind only reacts, and often wrongly. It doesn't act, it reacts. Somebody says something, it's always reacting. Oh, he said that to me, oh, he's like that, she is like that. Always complaining about others. That is the sign of restless mind. You don't act something by yourself, always something, trying to find something in some other person. So restless mind tries to react rather than acting, and also reacts wrongly, not rightly. Doubtful mind is also an impure mind, and doubtful mind is equally restless mind. And And how is the doubtful mind? Doubtful mind this mind says, I can understand the other's mind. As if that person can read the mind of all people. Oh, that person did with this intention. That person was thinking this thing. So all other persons, the person can read. So that is very restless mind, very wrong mind. It will give him trouble. When mind is restless and deciding wrongly and thinks that it knows everything, doesn't try to find the defect of its own mind, that's why looking for our own mind is very important. Sri Krishna says in the Gita, Samsayatma vinashyati. Those who have the doubtful mind, those people are destroyed spiritually, can't evolve, life becomes meaningless and becomes troublesome. Samsayatma vinashyati. Doubtful mind is also a sign of restlessness of the mind. Mind is not under control. There is the story of how mind plays, the story of mongoose, pet mongoose and snake. In Indian stories, Panchatantra, you might have heard that one family had one mongoose who was very supportive and helpful. And it was for a long time, for a few years it was there, and always took care of the family. Once that family child was born, now this mother had the doubt, if mongoose eats my child? But mongoose was so friendly, always helped the child, nothing doing that. But doubt entered into that mother's mind. Now samsayatma vinashyati, how mind plays. So mongoose used to sit near the child, protecting, enjoying, child also used to play. Now mother always, if mongoose becomes wild, if it bites my child, what will happen? That doubt entered without any reason. Never mongoose behaved improperly. And one day that lady had to go to fetch water from a river in the water earthen pot. And he thought, mongoose is there in the mind child, he should not harm mongoose. And in the meantime, what happened? One snake entered into the child's room. And poisonous snake, mongoose can kill snake very easily. And he jumped on the snake and killed snake. And snake's blood all came in his mouth. The mother of the child came after bringing the water, fetching the water, and he saw mongoose standing near the door. Mongoose was so happy, I saved your son with all my power and risk of this poisonous snake. And what mother thought? Samsayatma. She thought, I was always afraid of this mongoose, now blood in his mouth. He must have beaten my child. And she became so angry, and she put that earthen pot with water on the head of mongoose. Mongoose died instantly. Now she comes inside, suspicious that her son will be dead or beaten. He says, son is playing. And snake is there, lying dead body of snake. Now what will be happen to this lady? Just see her guilt feeling, whom did she kill? Like that thing may happen if we do the thing without thinking, just on the basis of our doubts. Doubts can lead us like that, always reacting in that way. Samsayatma vinashyati. How to control the play of mind? They say to control the play of mind is self-acceptance about the nature and shortcomings of one's own mind. First thing is we have to understand our own minds and weakness, or what we have. Is it full of desire? It is doubtful. It always reacts more to the people think. It always thinks it knows the mind of others. If we accept the shortcomings of our mind, that is the first step. If we don't accept our minds and think it is very pure and all-knowing, and it's like Sri Ramakrishna also used to understand the person is sitting for meditation, but mind is not controlled. Rani Rasmani was not thinking of God but thinking of lawsuit. So I also can understand person's mind by behavior. And if you think that way, compare yourself with Sri Ramakrishna, then you cannot change your mind and make it pure, not control the mind. Mind will be always giving you trouble. So acceptance of the condition of the mind, that my mind, I need to improve, my mind needs to be purified. Those things, and so Benjamin Franklin said, they say, those things that hurt instruct. So I can see mind is not pure, it's still trying to work in a different way, so I need to do it. It hurts, but it instructs. Everything I need to change. There is a lot of scope of change in my thought. And self-control first was self-acceptance, understanding the mind. Then it can be controlled through all performance of yoga. One is called Gyana Yoga. Swamiji writes term very nicely. It's the process of persuasion. Gyana Yoga tries to teach us about the reality, discernment of what is real and unreal. Not being caught by the unreal thing, not getting into that, not getting attached to the unreal thing. Practicing Uparati, Shama, Dhamma, Titiksha, all the Samadhi, Shatka, Sampatti. You practice purity of mind and practice of meditation and having a higher goal in life. That is the persuading your mind to reach the higher goal, to become better. That is Gyana Yoga. There is the purification is the second thing. It's called Bhakti Yoga. You try to purify your mind through devotion and love to God, and through purity of body and mind, through your actions done for the sake of God, whatever you do, you offer to God. So as the song says, a beautiful song today, very much it coincides with our talk today. It says, may my mind be led at the feet of the Lord. That was the song today was sung, and there the purification comes through that is the Bhakti Yoga. And in Bhakti Yoga it is said what you eat should be pure, what your body should be pure, your clothing should be pure, your thoughts should be pure. Not only eating, but whatever you get through all the senses should be pure. That is very. Be truthful, that's another sign of purity. That all is persuading mind to become pure. There is the third eradication, Karma Yoga, eradication of the egocentrism, self-centricism, and try to do that by being connected with the others and trying to help others, not getting attached to the result of our action, not getting guilt feeling for what a result has come, or not feeling praise for the result has come. Result is given by God, and that's how we eradicate the action of the ego as the ego of myself and mind. It becomes clear of all impurities, and there is subjugation of the mind through Raja Yoga. You do it by through the process of Saucha, Santosha, Tapa, purity and contentment and austerity and cleanliness. So, and the reading of books, all that are the part of Raja Yoga, and finally control of the breath, sitting on the posture, right posture, and meditation. Raja Yoga is very fine. The Swami writes that Raja Yoga says that region or the Gyana Yoga is too weak to uproot ingrained tendencies. It's very difficult only through Gyana Yoga. Devotion requires inborn faith in God. So it has something you have to come with. You have to faith in God. Ego eradication is a slow process. That's why Raja Yoga is the best, we'll say, to perform Raja Yoga. But what we say in Ramakrishna Mission, we say all these three yogas are equally potent, equally powerful to purify our mind, and we need to practice all these four yogas. We need to meditate, we need to discern always what is real and unreal. We need to work with others, for others, that is the Karma Yoga, for their own sake. And we need to have the devotion to God and friendliness with the gods, people, Shiva, Gyani, Jiva, Shiva, that is needed. At the end, I would like to read that from Adi Suranjan, beautiful quote, just listen very nicely, it's written. Self-control is achieved by following any of the four ways told above, or a combination of them. Self-control is neither negative nor inhibitive. It is the technique of dealing with desires. So often say self-control is like repression. Self-control of the mind is not repression. Swamiji refused that self-control is like repressing the mind until it will burst out. If you repress, there will be psychological problem. But self-control is not like inhibiting the mind. It's not nothing negative about it. It is the technique of dealing with desires. Desires cannot be crushed or repressed, Vedanta says. They cannot be fulfilled completely or postponed indefinitely. If you see about the desires, that which makes the mind most restless. The only way is to reduce them to a healthy level. Self-control calls for withstanding the intensities of the gross impulses and urges, especially those of lust and anger. So trying to make it mellowed with our thought, with our knowledge, the more intenser it is harmful for me, I have to get control over it, slowly control, and finally it is very difficult to eradicate, but possible to eradicate when we have more our flow goes, cosmocentric flow of the mind, our mind flows towards God, and we are free from self-centered for the pleasures of this temporary and impermanent world, which ultimately gives suffering to us. Anything that is self-centered is going to give us the suffering of life. So we have to understand the play of the mind, and that is very important to take care of the mind. And when mind has become under our control, it is only the pure mind we can control. Impure mind is too powerful. That's what Arjuna says. It is very stubborn, obstinate, and powerful. So that is the impure mind. But pure mind is your friend. You say, mind do this, I am on Beda Tejabi. Mind, let us go to walk to Mother Kali's place. Like that, mind says, okay, you are going, I will also go. With that that is our self, I consciousness, that ego. So mind becomes very friendly, and it will always help us in our good and to gain the ultimate good of this life, as it was read in Vireswaranandi talk, that the purpose of life is to realize God, to totally transform ourselves from this individual centricity to cosmic centricity, to God-centeredness, and that is possible by practicing all the yogas to make mind pure and controlled and directed towards the reality. Thank you very much.